Okay, what I want to share with you is how to draw a hand. So first thing we need to do is take a look at our hand. Take a look at the knuckle line. Take a look at how the fingers are kind of almost matching that. And what we're going to do is use that rather as a reference point. So I'm going to draw some reference marks on my paper to kind of go along with my hand. So I have a line that goes like this. So I'm going to fake mark it. Okay, I'm getting a feel for the angle. Then what I'm going to do is put that angle on my paper. Now, when I draw my hands, I'm going to make sure my hand is held the same way as my angle line. I'm going to scooch a little bit further down the paper so where I'm drawing and the image I'm looking at are pretty close. Now, this knuckle line is really important because all of these little spaces between our fingers end at the knuckle line. So I'm going to be drawing these negative shapes between my fingers. Make sure to practice that strategy. This is not about creating a product, but practicing strategies that help us draw, help us see things in a different way to help us draw more things. Okay, so we are seeing a knuckle line. We are seeing negative shapes that we can help use as strategies. And the last thing I want to try to do is to think about drawing a glove. Okay, so here is the knuckle lines of my glove. And then the top part of my glove are going to be the tops of my fingers. I'm going to look at the angle that's here between my thumb and my finger. And I'm going to draw that part of the glove. So I'm going to draw that L. Okay, that is part of my glove. Okay. So, and that's not really a glove, it's more of a mitten. Okay, so now when I start to draw, I can finish drawing my thumb. And my wrist. Get that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to position and open my fingers just a little bit. And now what I can do is go in and add those negative little shapes. You have to draw slowly to make sure that your line has character. So I'm looking at this area right here. I know where it goes. I know where it needs to return. I'm going to do the next finger. Paying attention to the spaces between the fingers. And at times I'm looking at the fingers themselves. So my eyes are kind of flipping back and forth between the negative and the positive space. The finger and then also the space around it. Okay, this is not about like if your skin on your fingers touch, they can touch. All right. All right, so that is how you can get yourself to draw a hand. Let's call it the mitten approach or the mitten strategy. Okay. Now, I do have some other strategies I can show you for drawing hands. The mitten strategy works pretty good. As you can see, my thumb is definitely way too low, or maybe I need to kind of flesh that out a little bit more. I get that. Now, I want to show you how to do fingernails. A lot of the times what people do wrong is they do fingernails like this. They pretend they're capping a marker. You have your fingernail and then you have your finger, and it looks weird, okay? And that's not a finger. What a finger would be is that you notice flesh that's on each side of your fingernail. So if a fingernail is at you, it should look like this. There should be flesh to each side. If your finger turns this way, pay attention to how much flesh you see. Okay, so to make my finger look turned, there's more flesh on this side. And if I go the opposite way, that's wrong. If it goes this way, okay? So this is a turning finger. So what I want you to try to do is just let your hand kind of just, not, don't let it roll. Just don't be afraid to have your fingers twisting a little bit. So for my thumb, I'm going to pay attention to the shape of the flesh around the fingernail. Okay? You can even add in the extra thing there. Okay? If your fingernail goes higher than, if your fingernail goes higher, you can draw it higher. Okay? So add some fingernails onto your hand. And make sure that there is flesh more to each side. Okay, you can even put a little line to where the white part is on your fingers. But usually the white part on your fingers is pretty much, it's where they touch the skin. Okay, some other things we can look at to make our hand drawings a little bit better is we're going to come in and do the wrinkles of our hand. Now to do the wrinkles of our hand, we don't want to have like 3 lines. We don't want to do this to represent a wrinkle on a hand. What we'd rather like to do is to have things look like little curves or the lines inside the curves. Have them connect to the outside of your drawing. Make sure they connect in some way, somehow. Look to see how your wrinkles look on your hand. Some of them will actually even be here along your knuckle line, okay, where your hands kind of go down in, or even on your thumb. Make sure they look more connected to the outside of your drawings for now. We are starting to learn how to draw something called contour line. Now, you don't want any of these lines to be invented. You actually want to draw what you see, okay? So if I see a line that goes like that, and I also see some lines that go like this over top of it. And they kind of stagger left to right and right to left. Draw what you see. Sometimes I have like little puffy parts of my skin that kind of like puff up for my knuckles. Okay. Knuckles that are turned sideways, you're going to have your wrinkles more on one side than the other. Okay. So there is my mitten strategy and the finger flesh. Pay attention to the finger flesh. Have the wrinkles connect. And you have something called a better hand. Okay? So remember the mitten strategy. Have here. You have here. And then you go in and draw the negative space. All right, have some fun drawing a better hand.